Hey everyone, good evening. Monday, May 4. May the 4th be with you, as they say, for you Star Wars fans. Tomorrow, Cinco de Mayo, my kids are already asking to get Jackie's. That's where we like to get our favorite Guatemalan food, is at Jackie's. So we might be doing that tomorrow for Cinco de Mayo. No Coronas though. Too soon for that joke probably, but seriously, no Coronas. Just coming to you tonight with not a ton to update you on, but more than anything, wanted to see if anybody had any questions out there. This is sometimes if you ever use Reddit, there's a platform called Ask Me Anything. I thought we'd do that for a few minutes. I could take some questions that anyone might have on anything going on in the city. Today was a great day of some great meetings we had in the city of Sioux Falls. What's happening behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see is there are countless numbers of meetings happening with your city leadership. And trying to figure out what we do with pools, what we do with parks. To Barb's question, how do we get antibody tests? It's not as easy as it sounds just to get some of these things rolling. We as the city only have so much control over some of that. And so we had a great meeting today about our capital plan, our capital budget. As you maybe know, in the city, we have a capital budget. And what that budget does is that sets all of our major projects for the year that we're going to spend money on for roads and infrastructure and big expenditures. And so we're having a look at our capital plan and trying to determine what do we have to cut, what can we keep, what sort of projects are we going to have to push off for a few years and maybe look at doing in future out-year capital plans, which just kind of pushes everything forward because it's a 5-year rolling plan. So there's some impacts. The city is certainly not immune to what's going on with COVID. I know there's people talk a lot about the business community and the business world being impacted. And when the businesses are impacted, your city is impacted because we see those sales tax revenues decreasing, which is our primary source of funding. So a lot of questions coming in. Let me just talk about a few of those. Joy, when the libraries might be open. Joy, I'll tell you right now, we have curbside pickup available at our libraries. So even though the physical buildings aren't open quite yet, you can get any of the materials you want from our library. Go to the Siouxland Library's website, and all the information is out there on how you can get curbside pickup. So we have that going on this week. Someone else is asking about softball. Mayor, get the softball leagues up and going. Tell you what, one of the problems, this is just straight talk about why don't we have the leagues? Why can't we have softball leagues and baseball leagues and basketball leagues and soccer leagues and all these leagues? We had a hiring freeze too in the city. So we don't have the staff right now to maintain all the fields, to maintain all the pools, to be lifeguards at all the pools. So we have to determine how we can support those services because we're in the same boat a lot of businesses are as well, with staffing and with revenues. And so we're having meetings this week on your league. So softball league is coming. We'll have some answers to you guys soon on that. Someone asked, when will the DMV open? The DMV is not a city entity. That's your county. So you'd have to talk to the county on that. I know you can do a lot of the DMV work through kiosks and other things. Andrew wants to know, how big is that fish on my wall? That fish right there? I did not catch that fish. My grandpa, Dauma, caught that fish. I don't know how to fish. And he passed away from cancer, and my grandma was cleaning out her place not long ago, and she's like, what am I going to do with this fish? And I said, I'll take the fish, Grandma. So I hang it on my wall so I look like I'm this big fisherman, but I don't know much about fishing. Joe, what's your drink of choice? God, these are fun questions. Good. Non-COVID. I love it. I love Diet Mountain Dew, and my staff will tell you that I drink it like crazy. I can go a whole day without drinking hardly anything else but Diet Mountain Dew. It's really bad. Julie, will the Midco Aquatic Center be able to open if the new ordinance passes? Julie, that's one of the same facilities that falls into our other facilities categories about staffing, and if we have the staffing to support it, and it's already a very staff-intensive and expensive facility to run. Just so you know, the Midco costs the taxpayers about $600,000 to $700,000 a year to operate. Okay, it operates quote unquote in the red, and so we subsidize it to that. And it's going to be quite a bit more than that this year to run the Midco, and so we're trying to determine how we can fund that, Julie. So I hope so. I swim there regularly. I used to swim a couple mornings a week and haven't been able to swim in a long time, and I miss it. Shirley asks, when will churches be open? That's up to the church, your individual church. Churches have the ability to have service if they want right now. Most have made the decision not to have church and are having it remotely. So churches, that is up to the individual church. Chelsea wants to know, my 8-year-old son wants to know what your favorite color is. Well, it's orange, because I'm Dutch and I love the Dutch soccer team, and it's orange. Becky wants to know, when is Trader Joe's coming to town? Well, Becky, if you can call Trader Joe's and tell them to come here, we would welcome them here. But, you know, a lot of people talk about that a lot, where they ask, hey, Mayor, why doesn't such and such come to our city? Cheesecake Factory, Trader Joe's, you know, P.F. Chang's, all these. Those businesses have to want to come here. We can't do a lot if we don't fit within their market or kind of their you know, the type of market that they want to be in. Can't come here. So send Trader Joe's an email through their website every day and tell them they need to come here, and maybe they'll do that. Susan asking about the pools, and we don't know yet, Susan, if the pools are going to be open. Again, it's more of a staffing issue than anything right now, so we're trying to figure that out. We hope to have an answer on that in the next couple weeks. Who else has a question here? Sam, when will Sam be up and running again, only picking up on closed routes? Yeah, Cheryl, our Sioux Area Metro, our transit, we have seen drastic ridership decreases to the tune of over 60% drop in ridership. And several of our drivers, many of our drivers, fall into the governor's executive order of 65 and over or at-risk categories. So a lot of our drivers aren't able to drive. So that's been a staffing issue for us with transit as well. We hope to get transit up back to normal soon as ridership demands as well. Chris, with Worthington as a hotspot, are hospital projections reflected with potential stays for them? Absolutely, Chris. We're also watching Sioux City really closely as well. So when we talk with the healthcare organizations about what their hospital capacity is and what they can support, we're not just looking at Sioux Falls, we're looking at what their normal census is all around the region, of which Worthington is a part of that. Let's see. What are your thoughts on the mall opening Friday? Well, I've had some talks with the mall about this. I wanted to understand their plan for their sanitization, what they were going to do with the doors and the entrances. Businesses within the mall don't have to open. So the mall itself can open. If the Banana Republics of the world say we don't want to open, they don't have to open. They have the choice. They have to put in the right protocols for their staff. And for their employees and for their customers to feel like they have a safe experience there. So I trust the leadership of Simon Properties and of the mall, but they're also working with our SOAR team to ensure that they can open safely and properly. That's also why they delayed it a little bit. I recommended they get a lot more hand sanitization stations in there, which I know they're working on. So I'm comfortable with the mall opening, just like Lowe's has been open, and Home Depots and Menards and Walmarts. They have to put in the right proper precautions in order to do that. Let's see. What other questions? We talked about the Midco already. When will this COVID actually end, Justin? Oh, amen, brother. I wish I knew. I would love to get past this and move on to something else. But, you know, all you have to do is watch the national news, and you can see the fact that they talk about second waves and things like that. And so we don't know. So, we could have another increase. We could have another spike. We could have this be our new normal. We could have a second wave in the winter. So we're just preparing for all this. Jill Allen wants to know, are businesses going to be required to not let people in without a mask? No, unless the business chooses to do that. The city won't mandate that, but I believe I heard that Costco, even today, Costco requires people, I think, to have a mask to go into Costco. Maybe I'm wrong. You can put that in the comments if I'm wrong. But so some businesses are making that choice on their own to do that. The city is not mandating that. But Cody, you want to take me to lunch? I'd love it, brother. That'd be great sometime when there's actually places we can go. And I'm not supposed to let people buy me lunch, though, so we may have to just go without you buying me lunch. But let's see other questions on here. There's a lot of them. Diet Duet, hey, Mayor, how about little kids baseball for Harrisburg? You know, I don't know what Harrisburg's plans are. Lennox T, Harrisburg, Brandon. We get on the call about once a week, me and the mayors of the region, to kind of talk about what our plans are together, so that we're all kind of running in the same direction. Mike, probably the most important question of all we've got here, when will Hoo-Hot open? Of course. I mean, just the critical stuff. Hoo-Hot, I hope, will potentially open Friday if our city council passes an ordinance to allow businesses, restaurants to open, but with really strong spatial distancing within their organization. So again, Hoo-Hot was never mandated to close. Hoo-Hot closed on their own, and Hoo-Hot will decide when they're ready to open on their own. And that goes for almost all restaurants. How do you inspect bars and nightclubs to enforce social distancing? They will be required to enforce social distancing, and I think their patrons are going to demand it, and they're going to only have about half of their occupancy that they're going to be able to have in those facilities. And so there will be an expectation that we will have of those organizations to do that, and if they aren't abiding by that, people will let us know. Believe me, they will certainly let us know. What was your favorite restaurant growing up in Worthington? Michael. I would say Michael's. Michael's restaurant is amen. Michael's Onion Rings. Any plans for the 4th of July yet for the city? No. One of my favorite parts of that is the mayor's kind of run we do, a little 5K. Don't know what we'll be looking like with the 4th yet, so too early to tell. But we will see what happens with the 4th. Marla, what kind of car do I drive? I drive a, I'm not going to tell you, otherwise everybody knows what kind of car I have. It's a nice one. I like it. It gets me around. All right, couple more questions. Someone's asking about 5G towers close to schools and homes. I talk a lot about 5G, and there is huge misconceptions about 5G and coronavirus, 5G and health effects of 5G. We go off the World Health Organization, the FCC, who has the jurisdiction over the safety of 5G, has deemed it safe. The World Cancer Organization, American Cancer Society, and so there is probably more frequency in this room by me having these earbuds in this phone than there is worry from 5G. And so we will continue to be rolling out 5G in the community. 5G small cell towers are safe. We wouldn't be putting them in the community if they weren't safe. A couple more questions. When will the state parks and restrooms open? I can't speak to the state parks. That would be a state question. But I know that they're anxious to get those open as well. Sarah once asked, how is my wife doing? It's a great question. My wife is an amazing woman. And if you have never met my wife, next time you see us in public, please go thank her and give her a hug, because she is a great lady. And she's had to put up with a lot of crap over the last, not only couple months, couple years, and she's a good woman. So she is doing good. Thank you for asking. All right, one more question. You know what? I'm not going to do it as a question. I'm going to do it looks like as a statement. Pass my support to Jill Franken. She does a great job. Jill does do a great job. Jill Franken is our health director, public health director for the city. And Jill has had a hard job. the last couple months. And Jill's a great woman and an intelligent woman and a smart woman. I nominated her for an MB Tribute to Women Award before all this even. I loved working with her. And now I've got to see her skills on full display the last couple months in this pandemic. And just really proud to work alongside such a strong woman like Jill. She's a great, great lady. So that's it. I will probably jump off now. You guys can leave some other questions in here if you have them, and I'll try and answer them. Last thing I'll say, I didn't really address this. I had a really good meeting today with the leadership of Smithfield at my office. And you guys need to know that Smithfield is taking a lot of strong precautions to try and get open and open safely. And Smithfield is a product of three things. They're a product of COVID. They're a product of a very diverse workforce where communication can sometimes be a challenge for them. And they are a product of processing plants and meatpacking plants, which we've seen nationally have the ability to have a lot of spread happening. And so their leadership is working hard, I feel, to address the challenges there. And they want to make sure their employees go back to a safe environment. Now, one thing I was surprised to hear today, which I didn't know, is Smithfield has committed to paying their employees until they open again. So initially they said they're going to pay them for 2 weeks. They're going to pay them until they open. And they shared with me their daily payroll number, and it is not a small amount. And so I appreciate that they're doing that so that it gives those employees some assurance that they will continue to have income coming in until that facility is open and open safely. The CDC is on the ground today. The CDC was touring the plant with Smithfield, as well as, I believe, the USDA also. So we're taking that one seriously. Smithfield's taking that seriously, and we hope to have some positive closure on that as well, including for our pork producers and our ag community, which is also struggling in the region, and we want to get them back to a good spot again as well, because when ag is successful, Sioux Falls is successful. We're still an ag community, and we got to support our farmers around the region when we can. So that's all I got. Time to go have a Diet Mountain Dew. Thanks for all your prayers and support, everyone. We'll have hopefully some more updates for you this week as we go on about stuff opening as far as leagues and soccer leagues and softball leagues, tennis leagues, the pools. We continue to just work on all that. So stay tuned, be blessed, and stay safe, everybody. Wash those hands. All right.